If you ever struggle to cut clients with this texture of hair, I've got you. Today I'll be showing you step by step how I took his cut from this to a nice brush back with the taper on the sides. The first step of this haircut is to set our foundation with scissor work. First I'll be separating the hair from the top of his head, so we only have to worry about the sides and back. To do this, we're going to find our client's recession point. This is where the client's vertical bar ends and the hairline meets right in the corner. We're going to take the corner of our comb and just slide it from the recession point to the crown of his head. And that's what you see me doing right here. The easiest way to do this is taking the comb back and sliding it just like you saw me do, and using your offhand to guide it. By doing this, you can take your comb and offhand and simultaneously split the hair. So now we got our sides clipped up. We're going to go to the crown of his head and look for kind of where the hair falls back and then where it wants to go forward, and make that split right there. And when you're doing this, you're looking for any bends in the hair. So if it's bending one way, that means it naturally wants to fall the other way. Now to actually get into cutting. For the sides, we're going to be using diagonal sections. This is what I found to be kind of the easiest way to cut. You're just going to take a section about the width of your comb, pull it up, and cut it. Our client decided he wanted to do about a ½ inch to a full inch. So we're going to cut that in, and then as you see with each section, when you pull up the hair, you'll be able to see the previous cut hair from your previous section. And this will be the guide you use to make sure the hair is cut at a consistent length each time. And the easiest way to section hair, you just want to make sure the client's hair is nice and damp. That way the hair is split real nice. So as you see, I'm going through making these nice diagonal parts. You're just going to pull the hair over, lift it up, and you'll be able to see the hairs that should be cut. If you don't see any hairs sticking over this guide, that means you don't need to cut it. So if there's no hairs to cut, don't cut it. So you can just watch me go through. We're doing the same thing every time, just pulling the hair up and straight towards our chest and cutting. And this is something that takes a while to get comfortable with, but by using the same system for each cut, you'll get more comfortable, and I think this is the easiest way to get consistent results. So we're just going to do the same thing, but this time on his left side of the head, and we're just going to be taking these sections, pulling up towards our chest and cutting. As you guys are watching this, you can see the different lengths. The shorter hairs are what we just cut, and the longer hairs overlapping is what needs to be cut. And this is what you would call a traveling guide. Take one section, cut it, then you make the next section, taking the hair from the previous cut section and use that as a guide. Hence the traveling guideline. And you'll be able to see here, since we're at the back, the hair that we already cut on the right side of his head is starting to intersect with these guides we're making now. So you'll see towards the bottom of our guides, the hair is already cut. And the guides you're using on the left side, they should meet up with that hair that you already cut. Now on to the top of his head. We are going to make 3 sections. First on his right side, splitting right where his eyebrow ends. And then we're going to go to his left side and do the same exact thing. That way we are left with 3 sections. And from here we're going to create that fringe or his bang area. So what I'm going to do is pull his hair all the way towards my chest. What you're going to do is stretch out the hair until you get that shortest piece of bang, and that will be the longest piece of his fringe. From here I'm pulling all that hair out still, but I'm angling in towards his head. And what this is doing is leaving his fringe long, but connecting the top to the sides. And this is really important because you want to leave the fringe longer. And as I also mentioned, this is connecting the top to the sides. So as you're angling the hair in, we have a guide already set in place on the sides. You'll be able to see the hairs from the top overlapping the sides, and those are the hairs you want to cut. So the same thing on this side, we're pulling the hair all the way out, and we're looking for the shortest point on the fringe. Then from here again, we're just going to angle in, connecting the top and the sides of his hair. This is really important on his texture of hair too, because his hair is very straight. So if we didn't do this, it'd be kind of porcupine-y and an undercut look, which is what we really do not want. And you can see right here how the fringe is longer than the sides. And remember, we did 3 sections on top. So now we're going to take this middle part and make our guide. And on the sides we use a traveling guide. This is going to be a stationary guide. So we're going to take this vertical section, cut it all the way through, like I said, about a ½ inch to an inch. And as I get to the back, we're seeing that it all connects. And what I could have done here is start in the back, and then use that guide, but I wanted to keep it longer towards the fringe. So we cut all the way through, and we're going to pull it over to the right side of his head. Now, like I said, this is a stationary guide, meaning the guide is not traveling, it's already cut. So I'm pulling that hair horizontally, and you'll be able to see the shorter length and the longer length, and you'll just cut that. And what we're also really not trying to do is round the head shape. So you'll see me, once I get to the end of his head, I'll just drop that hair. And all that hair is already connected, so there's no reason to round it, because remember we pulled it over and matched it to the sides. So if I were to angle my hands in and make that round shape, it would mess up the cut. So I'll just let you guys watch me finish this side, and then you'll see me pull all the hair to the left side of his head and do the same exact thing. All this really is just connecting dots. And using this system of guidelines make it all a lot easier to do that. So I'll put this left side in 2x speed, and then you guys can just watch. And again, to reiterate, if there's no hairs longer than your guide, that means you do not need to cut it. And once we're done with this side, we're going to be all done with the scissor work, which is going to make it nice and easy for us to do our taper, because everything is already connected and we have a strong foundation for the cut. So I'm going to use the sea salt spray as a pre-style for his hair. What this is going to do is add a little texture and volume. And then whenever you do a scissor cut, you want to go through with a blow dryer with some heat and just use your fingers to shake through all the hair. So on to the taper. What I'm going to do first is just a little clipper over comb, just to clean up around his ears so we can put a nice sharp line on him. Now I have the foreguard on my clippers, and what I'm doing here is just debulking, and we're flicking out to be careful not to create any lines. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing in the back, flicking out so we don't cause too much of a disconnection from our shear work. And we're just letting that hair glide through our guard into the clipper. Now we're going to be doing a mid taper. So right here, we're going to take our trimmer and find where the ear connects to his head, and then look to see where the end of his eyebrow is. Using reference points like these will make sure you have a consistent cut for every client. And to get this cut even closer to the skin, we're going to follow up with our shaver. Now to make our first guideline, we're going in with no guard and our lever all the way open, and we're going to take this up about a ½ inch. And you see me pass through a bunch of times, that's just because I want to make sure all the hairs are cut. So now I'm going to go ahead and close that lever, and we're just going to go at the bottom line. Then switch to our lever halfway open, which is going to blend the close to the open. And if you don't know, closing the lever is making the blade closer, so it takes more hairs off as opposed to open, where it leaves the blades a little bit gapped and you're not taking as much hair. So right here, we're going to make our next guideline with our one guard lever all the way open. And the system I do, I like to set in guidelines, and I like to set these guidelines open. So again, now I'm going to take out that guideline I just made. To do this, we're using our half guard. Now when you're taking out these guidelines, you'll probably have to play with the lever a little bit. So you start open and then you close it. And with tapers, you really want to use the corner of your blades. Since you're blending in such a small space, you don't want to use the full blade, because you'll be risking taking up the blend higher than you want it to be. And our last guideline we're doing is our 2 guard all the way open. And with the 2 guard, you can see me really exaggerating that flick out motion. And by doing this, I'm blending into the weight of his hair. Instead of going flat against his head, which would cause kind of a disconnection and just make our job way harder. And you'll see me really scoop and flare out, just trying to get any of those stray hairs. Kind of like freehanding. Now to take out that line, we're doing our 1.5. And just like the half guard, we're going to be really playing with that lever, going from closed to open to halfway, just seeing what works. And again, just using the corner of our blade. And you'll see me when I get to the top, I'm really scooping and flaring out too, because I'm not trying to set in another line or take this blend any higher than I want it to be. And we debulked with the 4, and you can see there's still some really dark area. So we're going to take our 3 and just kind of detail a little bit, going up a little higher into that 4. And what this is doing is just making it a little cleaner for me to come through and detail with clipper over comb. So with this, you're just going to take the spine of the comb flat against the head and just really flare out and only cut those hairs that are sticking out. Even though you're cutting the smallest bits of hair, it can really make the difference. And to smooth out the clipper over comb, we're going with our thinning shears.
This is just going to attack any dark spots and detail the cut. Also to smooth it out and kind of get that chunkiness out. And to really get the taper to pop, we'll be lining up his arches. And just like the scissor work, this is just like connecting the dots. I'm going to make one point at the top of his arch and then another at the bottom and then round it to make those 2 points meet. Making sure we keep this as natural as we can. And then lining around the ear is also really going to frame out this blend and make it all come together. And just like the C cups, we're using 2 guides. I'm going to start the line right behind his ear, then you'll see me go towards his nape and then connect the 2 points. Doing this helps keep a nice natural line while also getting a nice sharp line. And on to the neck taper. I'm going to bald out right below the bottom of his ears, leaving space to connect to the weight of his hair. And on a cut like this where there's a lot of weight we got going to, I like making the guideline a little lower. That way I can still make my guidelines as thick as I need to. That's going to keep it from being like a real compressed blend or like a bowl cut. And we're doing the same steps. We're going to go lever, open, no guard first. Then we're going to close that lever up, go at the bottom of the line, then eventually open it halfway, go halfway up, and then we're going to fully open it and go all the way at the top of that line just to make sure everything's nice and soft. And with the neck taper, I like making my guidelines a little bigger just because we have more space and we can create a more gradient blend. So now I'm going to set my next guideline using the 1 guard, lever open, and we're going up the same amount of width, making sure everything is nice and consistent. And then as you could guess, we're going to do our half guard, playing with the lever from close to open to halfway, just seeing whatever works and detailing this guideline. And now again, we're going with our 2 guard open and we're getting to the top of our blend. So we're just going to scoop out, really flick out and continuously pass through the hair so everything's at a nice even length. Now to get our last guideline out, we're going with our 1.5 and I closed up the blade, and as you can see it's kind of darker, so we're going to need some detailing, but for the most part this 1.5 is doing the job. And whenever you need to detail, you just drop down to the next guard. So that line's darker, I dropped down to my 1 and detailed it. And that's the very beneficial thing to having a system, is you know what you need to do to detail. Now I'm going to go with my 4 guard and just really scoop out, exaggerate that scoop out motion to blend into the bulk of his hair. Just like the same thing we did with the sides of his taper. Then we're taking that 3, going right below the 4 and doing the same exact thing. You'll see here this will need a little detailing too. So what I believe I did here was just drop down to my 2 guard and go at that dark spot. But to connect that blend to the top, we're just going to do a little clipper over comb, and you can see this really makes everything come together. You'll see me turn my clipper from horizontal to vertical, and I'm just detailing all those little spots I see. And I remember when I first started cutting, I was really scared to do clipper over comb, but man, it is a cheat code. So if you're not doing it, it's something you need to do. It's kind of like freehanding, so you can really add the shape that you want to your cut. And it also really helps with detailing. Plus, it speeds up the time since you're not switching from guard to guard. Like you see here, I'm detailing all those hairs that are sticking out. That way nothing's hanging over, and it helps everything just come together and pop. And to smooth it all out, we're taking my thinning shears and just kind of removing some of the weight and the dark spots and all the chunkiness from this cut to make everything blend a little bit better. Now we're going to add the line, and you can see this pretty much the final result. This all came together very nice. And to really take this cut to the next level, we're going to style it with our Tune 45 indestructible clay. This is a stronghold, so you really don't need much. And we're going to take this, just spread it through our hands real thoroughly, because you don't want to cause any inconsistent spots in his head where there's huge chunks of product and then it's thinned out on other spots. And you're just gonna go through his head, apply everything nice, go through with the fingers, make sure it's all thoroughly applied. I'm gonna grab this comb. I'm not really sure what the name is. I guess you can call it like a wide tooth styling comb. But we're just gonna go through his hair and this is gonna leave a really nice texture. And you can really see this cut came together nicely with the shear work and the blend on the taper. And if you remember how he came in, this is a whole different look. So this is gonna be the cut. If this helped you at all, let me know. Go ahead, check out my channel, leave a like, subscribe, comment what else you want to see. And if you made it to the end, I appreciate you for watching. Thank you.